also just getting really glitchy. So I'm just going to try and host this now and see what happens. But it seems that the topic of Twitter Files 8 is not something that they want to be heard or talked about. So it's very, very suspicious what's going on. Let's see if we can fill this space up. I'll be right back. Give me a minute.
That was the most bizarre thing I've ever experienced on Spaces.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like it's glitching. It feels like it's on purpose.
It kept bugging
Ian.
out.
Well,
I couldn't even join Tara's stream.
I sent messages to others who are hosting. It's not happening to spaces that are like about crypto and stuff. So this is very odd.
Yeah. I think this is a very hot topic. The Twitter Files 8 are really problematic for the US government. So, what's happening here with all of these spaces glitching, with people just getting kicked off stage while they're speaking, and the host getting muted remotely from someone else. No one else can mute a host, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that just happened in Terra Space, where she was just constantly muted, and that is an admin feature. That's not someone else in the space who can do that to the host. So very, very suspicious.
I've also noticed a thing when I try to log into, because I'm logged into various computers, right? I have like maybe 3 computers here, and I logged out of one of them, and I tried to re-log back into Twitter. It's telling me my phone operator is not recognized. What is that?
Wow.
What the hell is that about?
Yeah, so we'll just keep going at it and keep trying again and again, because this topic is just so important and there's so much to say about it, and I'm really looking forward to it. So just make sure everyone who's here, retweet the space, let people know that we're here. Let's fill this thing up. And I hope Tara is going to come and join us. I don't know if she is still, has she tried to reset her own space, or is she coming over to us?
I'm not sure. I couldn't join the previous one.
Yeah.
I just messaged her.
No, hers is gone. She is nowhere now. Wow.
You cannot send a message to this phone number because its operator is not supported. Really? What the hell?
Wow.
It's a good thing I'm logged into different browsers, but like, yeah, I logged out of Chrome, and maybe it's my Chrome that's fucking up. I doubt it though. I doubt it.
Nah, this is definitely problematic. This is not normal behavior. Is Tara here now? Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Let me make her co-host. I really want to hear from her what just happened.
Yeah.
Maybe we start with that and then we go back on topic. I just made a course. I hope it works.
Yeah. I hope so too.
Yeah, there she is. Hey, Tara, what happened? What the hell was that?
Just went up of what was happening as I was trying to speak. Someone somehow is muting me as a host. And the only thing that I can think of, and the only way that I can think that that would be possible is from.
Hello?
Wow.
What happened?
Gone again.
Oh my God.
That's insane.
Oh man. I can't tell if this is a glitch or if this is deliberate because
Now, this is the third space now. So it happened in
right.
Mario's space.
It's not
Then
happening
it
to
happened in
anybody
Tara's
else's, right?
space. Where they just
Right.
everyone else is running normal spaces without
Exactly.
these
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah. That is wild.
So there's definitely something happening in the background here to try and prevent a space about the topic that is, just breaking with Twitter Files 8.
But did you notice when it got really bad was when we started to talk about a certain brothers sets that we thought were operatives? It started to glitch really bad when we started to
Now,
talk
it was glitching the whole time, even before
Yeah,
that.
even before
So
you
in
popped in.
Mario space, it already happened. I think it's the topic
Yep.
that we are going to talk about and how serious that is. And there's a lot to say about this. And I think there's certainly something going on with this information not being discussed.
Yep. Very interesting stuff.
Prodigal, you are back. What happened?
Yeah, what happened to your space? I'm gonna get Wall Street Silver in here. Oh wow, Prodigal just messaged me. He says Tara and I just got dropped.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So when you look at just so that everyone knows that we're not just making this up, right? So if you look at spacesdashboard.com, you can see all the spaces that are currently live.
Yep. Prodigal sent me another message. Let me read what he said. He said, I was in another space and it was working fine. So he can join other spaces, he can talk in other spaces. But for whatever reason, whenever we talk about this issue, he has problems.
Yeah. Also, when you look at these other spaces, they started 4 hours ago, 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago, 1 hour ago, 4 hours ago. So these other spaces are going fine. So it's not a bug.
Yep. Did you just mute yourself? Oh no, I think this space is gonna die. He can't unmute himself. Uh-oh. Yep. Uh-oh. Yep. Yep. It's happening again. It's happening again, guys. It's happening. It's happening. Ron Paul was right. The end is near.
I have just been muted remotely, dude.
Yep.
Like 50 times. It's what the wow.
Like I like okay, like I feel like I should, message a certain someone and say, "Hey, look into this." Cuz this is pretty concerning. If we can't have free conversations in here and some fucking far leftist idiot is controlling our discourse. Fuck you, guy.
Well, here's the thing, right? You have to assume that there are still people within Twitter that are part of this whole
100%.
censorship.
100%. And you just got muted again. God.
Okay, hey, can I
Why
talk?
is it doing this?
Can you hear me, Ian?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Do you drop?
Okay, no, yeah, it keeps kicking me off too, and same issue.
Man.
I'm not having any I don't think I think they still have some FBI people in house that they haven't identified who have some sort of
I think that's the
influence or
issue.
control.
And they're working on the spaces. God, I hope they have logs or something. So, hey, fucker, if you're listening to us, I hope, Elon's keeping logs on you because you're going to be out of a job pretty fucking soon.
Yeah, this is probably his last act at Twitter.
Yep. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, this has been done before, right? Remember that one kid banned Donald Trump as a joke, like as his last act? Yeah. Shit like that, man. Like it's these people have way too much power.
So what we have established for sure is that all other spaces are running fine.
Yep.
But only this space about this topic of Twitter Files 8 is affected.
Mm-hmm.
Kim, change the
Right.
name to "Come Shill Your NFT."
Yeah, that's a
Yep.
great idea.
Wall Street Silver just got dropped again. Yep. That's oh man. It's like they just don't want us to talk about it. But you know what? The more you people suppress us, the more we'll talk about it. So fuck you.
Exactly.
Ever heard of the Streisand effect, motherfucker?
Yeah, but what happened before in the other spaces, they then just end them.
Yep.
Because, they can mute us, they can move us off stage, but then they can also end the space and it's over.
Yep.
Silenced. I mean, that's crazy. I'm a nobody.
Terrified of us. That's what makes them so afraid of us. They're fucking terrified of us.
Again.
It's really stupid because Elon follows several people who are in this room right now, and
Yep.
I'm sure he's not supporting what's happening in this space right now.
Absolutely not.
There's
No, he
definitely
supports
some
us.
people. There's definitely some people still working at Twitter who are playing games right now. This is ridiculous.
Yes, it is. Yep.
And no one can say this is glitched because all other spaces are working fine. And we had people go into other spaces, try them out while we had these issues, confirming that they had none of these issues in any of the other spaces. So no one can claim that this is some kind of software glitch or an issue with spaces. This is targeting us directly because we're talking about this topic.
Yep. It looks like Sphinx just dropped. I just added her back in.
All right,
It's like they try to tire us out, but they don't realize we played Elden Ring. Okay, that's pretty cringy to say. But yeah.
Question: Are you guys bringing me up
so
every
don't worry
time?
about me. Bye.
Are you bringing?
Yeah, I'm bringing you up.
Every time. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I'm bringing you back up because you keep getting booted. Just the absolute state of Twitter, man.
Yeah. This is shocking.
Absurd. Just absurd.
What alternative channel could we go to? Like, keep this open and then just send everyone to that other channel. Like, where else could we talk about this?
So Restream. Sorry, Ian, did you want to go? Because I was gonna.
No.
I was gonna say Restream lets you broadcast and you don't have to turn the video option on. I don't know but
hey, how about we all go to Clubhouse and give them another good day again after they have been so declining? I mean, we could theoretically keep this space open and then just shift everyone over and tell them to go to Clubhouse if they want to hear about Twitter Files.
I don't like Clubhouse.
I think we need Elon to come in here and witness this.
Yeah. I mean, are you recording all of this? Are you screen recording right now? Because, I mean, this is some interesting stuff.
So as a host, I screen recorded several times as I was being muted. I'm talking really fast because I'm afraid I'm going to get...
And there she goes.
Yep.
Wow. I also just got muted again. I mean, the good thing is this is now being recorded, right?
Yep.
So I set the space to recording.
Yep.
And
I'm
definitely
going as well.
I'm going to send that to Elon and I'll ask him to have.
Yep, you got muted again. That's fascinating.
This is truly unbelievable.
Yep.
Truly.
Yeah, just send it over to Elon, man. Like, he needs to see this. This is absurd. This can't be a glitch. I mean, it can be, but like, what are the chances that it will only be these kinds of rooms? And it keeps muting and unmuting Kim. It won't let him speak.
It's just targeting us.
Yep.
100% just us.
It is. It's deliberate, It's like if someone had a remote control of your computer. I mean, I've had that happen to me, just friends like pranking each other and stuff, install backdoors on our systems. you know, it feels like that. It feels deliberate. It's like, oh, you're talking, you're in the middle of a sentence, and suddenly you get cut off. It's like, okay.
If there's anyone in here from Twitter or Twitter Spaces, try and find this guy. Whoever is doing this right now, like cut their access. It may be a remote connected terminal that has admin rights. You know, just shut him off. Try and fix this. We will keep the space open, but you know now that there's someone doing malicious stuff and is targeting this specific topic. All other spaces are running fine. We have verified that. So if there's anyone here from Twitter, try and find this guy so we can have a conversation.
Yeah, that's right. We just want to have a conversation. You know, you can deal with him as you see fit by terminating his access and his job. But we just want to have a conversation about this topic. I think it's important.
Yeah, by the way, this could also be remote, right? So it doesn't have to be someone at Twitter HQ.
Correct.
This could be someone from a spy agency, you know, who has backdoor access to the admin panel and is basically just operating in this space with his admin rights by muting, unmuting, kicking people, and eventually potentially ending the space again, like it happened with Mario 3 times, like it happened with Terra before. So it's very obvious that this is a deliberate attack.
Yep. And I'm going to put a tweet in the top there. So if you guys could all retweet it and like it, that would be fantastic. Get Elon's attention there. Just publicly, you know, so you can acknowledge it or something. But privately, you know, we have channels. It's definitely not a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences.
Dude, I can't even unmute myself half the time. This is ridiculous. What the fuck?
Yep. You're having fun. It keeps muting Kim. I see that. I'm going to add Tara back in to see if she can speak again.
Ian, I would venture to say that the implications of today's Twitter files drop is even greater than everything we've seen before on a global scale.
It is, yeah.
And that's why I was so interested to hear what Kim had to share. And it just seems like they don't want him to talk.
I have some bombshells to share. You know, I mean, this is a huge topic. I've been waiting for this part of Twitter files to come out. And, you know, once people understand the significance of this, you know, I think this is going to be a huge problem for the U.S. government.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking NATO bots here, right? They're promoting a war and it's funny that the space crash, just as I was talking about it back then, you know, in Mario's space, was going on about how, you know, this war that they're promoting because it benefits the U.S. government, maybe not the U.S. government necessarily, but defense contractors. They benefit from the military-industrial complex and the prolonging of the war with Russia, this proxy war. They don't want us to talk about it because obviously it's of interest to the American taxpayer. It's the American taxpayer dollars that are going towards funding this. I mean, they just approved what, $44.3 billion for funds to Ukraine. I mean, the vast majority of that money is not going to Zelensky, right? It's going to defense contractors, and they're going to be the ones sending all those weapons over to Ukraine. So this benefits the U.S. defense industry. It's got nothing to do with you know, spreading democracy or whatever. Like, is Ukraine a democracy? No, it's not. It doesn't have opposition political parties. It doesn't have opposition TV channels or TV stations or anything.
Tara is back. Can you talk now, Tara?
You can try.
Notice as I'm not talking, it lets me stay up here, but as soon as I unmute and start saying anything, it just immediately drops me and kicks me. But yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. This is insane. I've posted Twitter Spaces for 2 years and have never ever as a host been muted from any there. It's just not even possible. There's not even a button for that on our end anyway, on a user end. That is insane.
Yep.
I'm going to try speaking more quietly. Maybe they won't boot me. What I wanted to what I wanted to say is, as frustrating as it is, I've done this sort of in other situations before. It'll be more helpful to Elon if we stay on this platform. It'll give him more data the longer we stay here than if we went to Clubhouse or something.
Yeah.
So
I agree with
Yeah,
that.
let's keep it open and let's try. If these attempts continue for a prolonged time, then we need to figure out where we can go to actually talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think, we're now at 4.5K. There will be a couple of journalists here. There will be people here that want to get a bit more background about this. So we need to give it to them. But let's stay here for now and see, if this attack is now that we are on to them, if this attack is continuing or not.
That's right. It seems to have
It's
calmed down for
wild because
now.
that's what the Twitter files were about, right? I wonder if Elon actually caught wind or if someone caught wind. You did say anyone in here who, works for Twitter or in control of spaces, please try to figure out what's going on. And now since that call out, it seems like it's gotten better. But this is exactly what the files were about, is suppression, censorship, and their ability to be able to do this to us. And then here we are having it happen real time, not just one of us, but all of us who have started a space. I'm glad you started one, Kim, so you could see that you were getting muted as well, right? Was it popping up on your screen saying you have been muted as the host?
Yes, several times now.
Fascinating.
Yeah, so someone DM'd me and said, maybe the co-host is doing it. Let me assure you, the co-host does not have the ability to mute the host. Only the host has the ability to mute themselves. Co-hosts can only mute speakers.
Yeah. So someone with administrative access has the ability to mute you, right? I mean, that's just the ability, because you want to stop people from having certain conversations. Say a bunch of terrorists pop up and they were having a conversation. Yeah, you want to boot that channel and mute the people. But as hosts and co-hosts, we have no ability to do that. We can't mute either co-hosts or the host himself.
Exactly. This is wild. This is so crazy. I can't believe this is happening.
Yep.
Has anyone let Mario know that he wasn't alone?
Yeah. He knows.
Well, it's 3 spaces now, right? And it's always only the spaces with this topic. So it's just crazy.
Yep.
Correct. I'm wondering if they actually fixed it. I could try to co-host again if you want, but I don't know if you want to risk it.
Well, it seems to be fine now. So maybe this little call out that we made to Twitter has helped. Let's see. I mean, right now I'm not getting muted. You're not getting moved off stage. So hopefully it will be fine.
I hope so too. Glitches, quote unquote.
I know that the other day when, spaces were down because of whatever had gone down with the suspended accounts having access to speak on Twitter Spaces, they were fixing some things. And, within maybe a half hour to an hour of me asking Elon if we could please get Spaces back during the Twitter files drop, they were back, and he thought it would be later in the night. So, I mean,
Yep.
I think they do have pretty quick recovery time in fixing these issues or figuring out where the source of the problem is. But I am really curious if we'll ever know if someone is actually tampering with the spaces behind the scenes, and specifically in regard to to Twitter files.
Well, I mean, the good thing is we've been calling it out. We've provided an analysis that it only affected spaces that were talking about Twitter Files 8, that everything else is running smooth. So either the people attacking see that this is so obvious that it's just not worth it, or our call out to Twitter has helped with people looking into that and trying to stop whatever is happening here. I haven't had any more problems now.
That's good.
It's running smooth. Let's observe this another couple of minutes and then we can go dive back into the topic.
Yeah, let's do that.
Stephen, welcome back.
Hey, thanks, Kim. I missed the first round of all the problems you guys were having. I wasn't aware that even was even happening. That is really wild. Really wild.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm sorry when Kim brought it up in Mario Space, and again it was another thing that sort of got downplayed. Like, oh no, this has happened. No, it was specifically these topics that were causing it initially, and now again today. And to see other spaces just running just fine, and people from this space have gone to other spaces and reported back to me and said, yeah, these other spaces are fine. I just started a space, it's fine. It's pretty obvious that it's specific to this topic and the people speaking on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think we've established that, just by looking at other spaces that are running smoothly, right? And again, everyone can look at the spaces dashboard.com, and you can see there are other spaces that are running for hours without problems. So it's not a glitch in Twitter Spaces. This is specifically targeted against a space with this topic.
That's right. I'm eating buffalo wings.
It's to be fixed now. I mean, I feel, that whatever happened is not happening anymore.
Yeah, seems to be okay now.
So why don't we dive straight back in? Let me tell you what I know about NAFO, which is a CIA-funded government botnet.
Yep.
And Twitter Files 8 is basically all about that. So what I know about it, and I looked into it because when I started tweeting that the war in Ukraine is really a U.S. proxy war, I got attacked by these NAFO bots, right?
Yeah.
And the way that works, it's a 3-tier system. In order to hide that it is a botnet, they are doing something that is quite new, and they're doing it to circumvent U.S. regulation or laws that don't allow this kind of activity against Americans. And the way they are doing it is they have one group of people that are real people that are joining NAFO because they are pro-Ukraine. They have been introduced by other people.
Adam Kinzinger, those types.
Yeah, so there's real people that believe what NAFO stands for, and they actually put the time in, and they participate in, shutting down people that are talking about peace or calling the war a proxy war. That's what they do. And then, so let's call it the legitimate front end.
Yeah.
Thousands of people that are organized under the NAFO banner working together, right? But then there is let's call it the illegal back end, which is the hundreds of thousands of accounts that are not real people that are being used to, amplify whatever NAFO does. So they are voting, they are liking tweets that are pro-Ukraine, and they are, doing malicious posting and replying on tweets of people that are not pro-Ukraine, that have a different view. Let's call those the real hardware software bots, right?
Yeah.
But then there is another layer. For the first time, the intelligence community is allowed to participate themselves. So over 100,000 staff, and the intelligence community is quite large. I mean, it's over 1 million people that are employed working at ABC agencies.
Yep.
So about 100,000 of them were each given 30 to 40 accounts to play with. And, bot activity, the problem with that is, they're never going to write replies that are sophisticated, that deal with the topic in a professional real-time way. Bots can only be used to amplify other messages, to vote, or to spam something, a particular reply. But if you do that too much, it's easy to identify. So what they've done, they've also added a layer, which is the third layer, where spies in the intelligence community, they're called analysts, get real Twitter accounts that were set up and can play with them. And they can switch between, like I said, 30 to 40 accounts. So you have the front end layer, the innocent front end, you have the legal back end, which is the bots. And then you have intelligence community members participating in these activities, giving it all kind of a human, legitimate touch, right?
Yep.
Now, one thing that you will see when you look at NAFO accounts, they always follow each other.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, for example, how I know that there's over 300,000 NAFO accounts. There's one particular account that the intelligence community uses as a backup database on Twitter. So this account is following everyone who's NAFO. And how did I find out about that? I identified that account as a CIA operative. I followed that account and I observed over time, every single day, how thousands and thousands and thousands new accounts were added as following.
Yeah.
So that account followed everyone who is a NAFO account. Then I identified through the NAFO hashtag that there's only about 3,000 to 3,500 real NAFO users. Those are the human, legitimate front end that they are using to cover up their much larger back-end activity, right?
Yeah.
And the reason they are doing this is because under the US laws, they are not permitted to use this kind of propaganda with Americans, against Americans, right?
Right.
So if ever there's any allegation that this is happening, all they have to do is point at the legitimate front end, the several thousand people that are actually engaging in, defending Ukraine. But they would have hardly any voice if it wasn't for the other hundreds of thousands of accounts that are backing them up, that are liking their tweets, the intelligence community members that are adding their own tweets and switching between accounts. And
I don't think they even need to switch. I think they probably have access to the API, which lets them look at a full table, right, of accounts that they have access to, and each person has, I don't know, 30 accounts or something, and they can just immediately craft a reply and then just press send using that, right, that interface.
Yeah, so they basically on their interface click on the profile picture.
Yep.
And immediately can reply to a tweet that they want to engage with, right?
Yeah.
And the reason I know all of this is because I became a prime target of NAFO, and they have attacked me constantly. So I was in the beautiful position to analyze their behavior, to infiltrate their network with a couple of accounts, to see how it all works, and to find the accounts that are, like I said, basically their NAFO database on Twitter. And the reason they are doing this is because, in order to claim that what they are doing is lawful, they point at the legitimate front end, the 3,500 people, and blame it all on them and say, no, look, there's real people behind it. You can look at it. It's all legitimate, right? We are not doing anything illegal. But they are not really the source of the major amplification that NAFO gets. It's the bots in the background that like their shit, and it's the people in the intelligence community that pile on. And they mostly, by the way, don't identify as NAFO. They're just normal accounts, 20 to 50 to 80 followers. They don't even promote the NAFU hashtag. They just add on to amplify what the real NAFU front-end people are doing and making it look so much bigger. So anyone who starts tweeting about the Ukraine war in a way that the CIA operatives don't like, they intimidate them and they make it look to them that the pro-NATO front is so strong that it's like 98% of people that are replying are like, you are nuts. You know, you don't know what you're talking about. Ukraine is fantastic. You need to support them, da, da, da. So anyone who speaks out and reads something that they feel, you know, is wrong and they speak out about it, they are immediately shut down and intimidated and made to feel like they are on the wrong side of history here.
Yeah.
That the reality is this is all Russia's fault and Ukraine is the angel, and you know, fantastic that the West is supporting them. And this is the false situation that they create on purpose. And you know, now that the Twitter Files 8 are out, it is quite clear that Twitter is cooperating with the US government, probably not understanding the 3-layer bot system that they have, the innocent front end, you know, the illegal digital bots, and then the intelligence community participating with real accounts as well. So this is new. This is something that hasn't happened before. And they are doing this to circumvent US law. And they have done this with surveillance laws where they're not allowed to spy against Americans. And what do? They open the doors for the British, which are part of the Five Eyes spy arrangement with the US. They let the British spy on all Americans by giving them access to basically all internet service providers, to all fiber connections. And then the British are putting their spy product into a spy cloud that is shared with the American spies. So they circumvent these laws. For example, also, the US is not allowed to do bioweapon research in its jurisdiction. That's why they use biolabs in Ukraine, use biolabs in China, and in you know, many other countries to circumvent the restrictions that they have. And the same again is happening here with this bot activity and propaganda, which is also not allowed in the United States. So it's a pattern of behavior by the deep state, by these spy agencies, where they always find a way to circumvent their national laws and still act, you know, against the law through proxies.
Yeah, they're, you know, like with the gain of function research, it's obviously illegal, so they will just have one of their proxy agencies, like the EcoHealth Alliance, to carry out their duties in other countries, like Ukraine, and then in China, right? They engaged with Metabiota, which was a company that was facilitated by Hunter Biden, right? And imagine that.
Yeah, by the way, whoever fixed this problem for us at Twitter, I really appreciate it. We're now good to go. We can obviously talk about this openly without any more manipulation of our space. So let's continue. If you have any questions about what I've just explained, you know, go ahead and ask me.
Will you see if it'll let me be in a co-host spot, Kim? I'm just curious.
I don't want to risk it.
Okay, that's fine. I don't know if it'll break it, but yeah, I wonder if someone did fix it after the call out to the people in the space, and then also Elon Musk. Ian, did you happen to privately get a hold of him at all?
I didn't message him, no. I just
I was just curious
on Twitter.
Prodigy,
yeah.
Did you hear what I just said?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Five Eyes have had an agreement for years while they will spy on other nations' people and just give the information freely. I mean, if you look at the Russiagate hoax, after Trump won, the UK basically apologized and said we had no idea what our former spy, Christopher Steele, was doing. The Ukraine government, which was intricately involved with Alexander Chalupa and the Ukraine embassy, also basically did an apology to Trump. And there was also apologies somewhat issued by Italy and by Australia. So, when people look at just the U.S. intelligence agencies pushing this, no, they had partners in the UK, in Italy, in Australia that helped push this and divide the country. So this is intelligence agencies in the West who have just run amok.
Yeah, so I mentioned this account earlier, which is basically an online database on Twitter for all these NAFO accounts, including the ones that are bots and the ones that are being used by the intelligence community. I'm going to tell you what this account is. Have a look at it. It's at Matt_Van Dyke. MATT_VANDYKE. This person is involved in co-directing the NAFO bots and the NAFO members. And then there's another CIA operative who is the head of this whole NAFO operation. And his Twitter account is at Masaru3. I spell that for you. At APMA.
That's Paul Massaro. Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
ARO3. Let me repeat that because you interrupted. At APMASSARO3. So these two guys are on the ground in Ukraine coordinating the NAFO bot activities. And then the background person that got them all the funding, got them all going, is Adam Kinzinger, who is a lawmaker, in the U.S. House, and has basically introduced legislation a couple years ago that allows for this kind of disinformation, misinformation stuff. And so he is basically the top guy who got them all the money, who's closely linked to the CIA. And Ab Massaro and Matt Van Dyke are the two guys running this thing. And this is a CIA operation.
So, Kim, a while back, when the Ukraine stuff was just sort of happening and getting pretty wild on Twitter with just, I don't know, certain narratives and things, and certain narratives being shut down and people being suspended for bringing them up, including, some of there were a lot of theories about what was going on that sort of have seemed to become like true. Anyway, but what I was going to get at is that when I was talking about Ukraine and what was going on, all of these accounts started attacking me, and they were all soccer moms. They were different soccer mom accounts. They were completely fake, and they didn't seem like they were from the United States. Their English was not, it wasn't totally like the way we would speak here in the United States. It seemed like foreigners running these accounts with fake profile pictures and posing as soccer moms, but it was like a group of people. It wasn't just one account. It was several accounts tagging the other accounts to come onto my tweets to basically get me to stop talking about what I was talking about.
Yeah, Twitter, by the way, is such a making such a big mistake working with the government on this type of stuff, because what's happening is they are really hurting their own company. Now that this stuff is public, and thanks to Elon for putting that out, it's pretty clear that if that also happens at other big tech companies, the US government is actually damaging big tech business. Because why would other countries still allow these people access to their citizens if this is being abused in this way? So what this disclosure is going to do, and I think that's one of the reasons why these spaces were attacked when we started hosting them for the last 2 hours, is because this is such a sensitive topic. And now just let me explain something else to you that I think is really important about these NAFO bots. when you look at their activities, like these two CIA operatives that I mentioned, whenever these people make tweets, they get 20, 25,000, 30,000 likes. There's just nothing that they do that would justify the amount of likes. But then when they are hosting spaces, there's only like 200, 300 people in there, right? So, they did a live feed with a U.S. government think tank about telling everyone how great they are and how they are raising money for Ukraine, and there were literally 115 people in there, and they announced that we're going to have this event, we're going to talk about NAFO. If they really had that many people that are liking in the tens of thousands the tweets of other NAFO accounts, well, how can it be that this big event where they're getting tapped on the shoulder and given a reward for being such an awesome organization had no fucking people in it, So that's how you know that this is all bot activity and that this whole NAFO network is a major scam, and that the U.S. is actually the U.S. government and the CIA is actually undermining U.S. laws by doing this stuff.
So I'm seeing a Twitter files number 9, part 9. I don't know if it's legit. I just sent it to you, Kim, in your DMs, if you could check.
Who's it from?
DC Drano, which I didn't know he got his account back either. I know he was one of the suspended
back, yeah, but
accounts.
I don't know if that's a legit drop. I mean, he might just be memeing or something. I'll just check.
Yeah,
I would
thread
agree.
and
I don't think he would.
I mean, unless it's being retweeted by Matt Taibbi or Elon Musk or LH Fang or Barry Weiss, I would not take it seriously.
Okay.
Kim, I have a question about Elon's decision to step down. Do you think this is somehow influenced by any recent events? Because I know Elon that is normally not a person to give up ever, right? And I was very surprised by his decision. I know his kid got threatened, but I'm very concerned about the whole way this came about, because it's not in his nature to ever give up. So do you think he just reached his threshold where he says, okay?
No, I mean, if you look at it, and
he hasn't made a decision yet, has he?
Well, he said
he
he's
hasn't.
searching now. He said he's actively searching. I mean, the issue is that if you look at his
But he
other
said that from the
business
beginning,
holdings,
Prodigal.
if you look at his
He
other
said that
business
from the
holdings,
beginning
no,
of
I know
buying
that,
Twitter.
but his
But other
business
people might
holdings
not
are,
know that. So I'm just letting him know that Elon said from the
Yeah.
beginning when he was purchasing Twitter that he would likely not remain in charge of Twitter.
I'm aware, but it's nowhere near being fixed right
his
now.
business holdings are
experimenting,
under
right?
pressure. If you look at Tesla, right, their mega factory in China is now producing at 20%. Chinese EVs have entered the European market and multiple other regions, right? So Tesla's under major pressure. Then you look at SpaceX, which is eventually going to be spun off and maybe go public. But if you look at IPOs and merger and acquisition activity, at least in Western markets, IPOs in the New York Stock Exchange are down 90%. Nobody's going to go public with volatility as it is. That's why you've seen the drop. In addition, mergers and acquisitions are gone. He's selling private shares of Twitter. There's also whispers of him selling private shares for SpaceX. So his industries are under pressure. I think he was always going to spin off. I don't think it's necessarily a bad move.
I'm aware, but this is the biggest investment he ever made.
Yeah, but he's a lightning rod
$44
right
billion.
now.
He's not gonna.
If he gets the same, if he gets the same policies,
this is the last person
if he has
to
a
give
new
up on
figurehead.
such.
Guys, let's not talk over each other. That's not going to work. I think, Prodigal, you talk first and then give Oliver the floor. No more talking over each other in my space. Thank you.
Yeah, he's a lightning rod right now, and it's affecting his other holdings. If he can have somebody in there he trusts who's not that polarizing, it's a smart business move, especially if it helps his other businesses that are under pressure. I mean, it's simple. It's not that he's scared or he's worried. The Twitter drops are still coming. So if he's able to step back and focus on his other businesses, which he has many, and put somebody in he trusts to do the right thing, then you shouldn't be worried about this. Whoever he puts in is going to be his guy.
The problem
he'll still be the chairman, right?
Yeah. So the problem here is running something like Twitter needs a very special type of person who has deep knowledge about, what it means to monetize mass user websites. That's not something, it's a new domain for Elon. He is a very capable guy, but I think he needs some time to figure all of this out and what the right options are. And I think, he's going to get there. I'm also confident that he thought this Twitter poll would go his way. And I think what happened here is that the bots took over. And you could see from the likes to vote ratio from other polls that he had done that there was a huge discrepancy. That's why I made this tweet to him and said that it was unwise, because he is now enemy number one of the deep state with all of these releases that he makes. And obviously, these botnets were used to vote against him. So, it's just not a believable poll when you look at like I said, the likes and the vote ratio compared to other polls that he's done before.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering if NAFO also had anything to do with influencing that poll.
100%. They hate Elon. When Elon tweeted about a peace effort in Ukraine, and he said, he provided clear options what could be on the table to resolve the issue, he was attacked viciously, not just by NAFO bots and NAFO, front-end people, but also by the Ukrainian government. They put him on a kill list for 15 minutes until they realized it's not a good idea. It's not a good look. This is going to backfire. And then you had ministers of the Ukrainian government attacking him. And I think the ambassador to Germany, the Ukrainian ambassador, even said, some swear words to him on Twitter. So they were really treating him like a piece of shit, despite him being the single sole provider of internet connectivity to the Ukrainian military through Starlink. I mean, that was really weird to see how the Ukrainian government shot themselves in the foot. And it has really exposed the NAFO activities to Elon himself, who I think before that happened wasn't really so aware about this bot problem, with NAFO and promoting the Ukraine war.
They can also buy votes on those polls for around, I think it's 10 cents a vote or something like that.
No, it's more than that.
You
can, for $2, you can get 150 votes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm hoping you will rerun this poll with just Twitter Blue paid accounts, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what he said. He likes the idea, the suggestion that someone made that it should be a poll with, premium accounts. I think that makes sense, because that's the only way right now you can eliminate all the bots.
Voter ID, because right now, if I wanted, or if any of us in here wanted to, we could make 10 extra Twitter accounts and vote in polls. You don't have to verify your phone number or anything to vote, so it's easy. And it invalidates any real votes. That's the issue. And yeah, some people are going to whine about it and be like, well, I don't want to pay the $8. It's like, well, tough. We have to have election security. You can't have a person make 10 fucking accounts and vote and invalidate your vote. That's not fair.
Yeah, so I think what the outcome is going to be is that he's going to rerun the poll, and he will do it with blue checks that are premium accounts, and then we're going to see the real result. The amount of likes, by the way, that I got on the tweet suggesting that this was unwise because of the bot activity got 80,000 likes. You can clearly see that people were frustrated with how the poll was going. And so many people pointed out, like I said, the discrepancy with the likes and the votes and some other things. Usually there are way more comments under such polls. And this was just all skewed and all obviously bot activity. So, I don't think he's going to honor that now that there's a clear understanding that that's a real possibility.
And there was a real
I really
poll done
hope.
by Harvard, right? Harvard actually carried out a poll asking the exact same question, and they divided them by demographics. And the vast majority of people who took that poll say they want Elon Musk to remain CEO. This is a real poll. This is not some bullshit. They're actually interviewing real people, and and the vast majority, like 67% or something, said they want Elon Musk to remain in charge of Twitter because it's important. And
so here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Elon is a very, very bright guy. And I think he may have even done this as a honeypot to get all the bots. Because when I wrote that this data set for this poll could be used if data mined to identify all the bots and kill them all at once, he replied, interesting. So maybe there's more to the story than we know.
Also, I wanted to say both the poll results for both Kim and myself came back that people think we should stay as head of Twitter. So neither of us are stepping down either. Just shows you how seriously people take these Twitter polls. But I did want to say that, it's, what happened was the Tesla shareholders that have been backing him. I know this came into play. I don't know to what degree, as Kim is saying. Certainly, some strategic element may have been part of it to catch these bots. But I do know there has been some pressure on him of late from the likes of Rob Herring and others who have sort of said, and Tara, I sent that to you. Oh, Tara's gone. I sent it to you as well, Kim. The tweet of okay, Elon, you've cleaned up Twitter. Now let's get back to Tesla. Which is the reason you're where you are, kind of thing. He's not really used to pressure like that, but it's not really the woke crowd that's making him nervous or anything like that. But he has gotten a lot of pressure from the sort of a corner he's not used to. Let's just say.
Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you, Kim. I'm glad you were able to get another spaces going. I really have a question. I guess I want to re-echo the point I was trying to make yesterday, that he's in a political position now. So none of the kind of the business acumen that I shouldn't say none of, but his business experience isn't going to prepare him as it might otherwise would for the Twitter corporation. And so my question is, for those who know more about the Tesla shareholder world, and maybe there are folks out there listening, is the fact that Tesla was seen as a darling of the left in terms of investors. That's my perception. Is that kind of resulting in a particular type of investor climate in that company that wouldn't necessarily be around other companies? There's a particular ideological bent to major investors in Tesla that isn't readily apparent or isn't necessarily true at other companies. And I don't know, is that the case? And is that kind of is that causing difficulties for him in ways that someone who ran a more traditional company that didn't have the purposeful relationship with its investors and customers that Tesla did?
Well, I can tell you one thing, being a businessman myself, none of that is going to matter right now. He spent $44 billion on Twitter, and he wrote in another tweet the other day that it was heading for bankruptcy on the fast lane since May. So if he doesn't put the time in to fix that place, and I'm sure he has great people at Tesla and SpaceX that he can delegate to. It's a robust team of good people that he trusts, that he builds. They are taking most of the workload now. And any good businessman knows that one of the key talents you need to have is to delegate people to people, and to find people to be able to fill in and do things for you when required. So his focus has been and is going to be Twitter, at least for some time. I do fear that this is affecting his health, because when I saw the photos of him in Qatar at the Soccer World Cup, I was a bit worried. He looked really tired. It looks like there's a lot of pressure on him, and just not enough time to deal with everything that he needs to deal with in a day. But I'm confident, simply because of, you look at his track record, what he's built, what he's done, that he can turn Twitter around, make it profitable, and the steps that he's taken are already excellent. The business steps that he's taking. So the amount of moderators that they had was absolutely crazy. He cut the workforce right down to get to a level where he can be profitable. I think once they launch these premium features that have been announced, that are not even live yet, more people are going to sign up for premium, so he becomes more independent from advertisers and can actually do the things that he needs to do to protect free speech on Twitter. So everything is kind of trending well. And I think a couple of mistakes were made. He should not have engaged in direct moderation. He should, that was not a good idea to ban some journalists for doxing, or to make that kind of his personal job. That should be left to people that are focusing on moderation and have pretty clear rules how that's done. I think that was the only big mistake that I personally identified, where he got too much involved personally.
Yeah, I agree. And I also saw he looked very deflated at the Qatar football event. And I was also worried about that. And that's why I was also very surprised that, he has invested 44 billion, that he would step down as a CEO, because, he's the type of guy that would just bite in and get the company back in good shape before he steps down. But in regards to moderation, I fully agree. And I think that was also the problem, that put the main target on his back. You should just have very clear moderation rules, and then have other people moderate, right? Not come up with these rules ad hoc and then have these decisions made. It should just be the rules, and those are strictly followed. And if there would be decentralized moderation with a bounty system, for example, that would really be interesting, and he would have all the heat removed from
a bounty
himself.
system would be perfect, right? You can just utilize your users and give them a bit of crypto, a bit of money in exchange for moderating, and you can rank them intelligently, so who's going to do real work, and you can weed out those that are not really effective. But here's another thing. Elon recently announced through a couple of tweets that they are killing bots, and he asked users, are you seeing it already? Do you see the effects, that things are getting better, less bots advertising crypto or trying to spam people with crypto tweets? And I think when he did the poll about him remaining CEO, he was quite confident that it would go his way, because he thought that with his engineers, they have killed so many bots that he could confidently run that poll. But that is a mistake, because there are still millions of bots, and the vast majority of bots are government-owned bots. So I think he's underestimated that, but this is a wake-up call for him. And I think it's important. It's great that stuff like this is happening, because every day he's learning so much, and I have confidence in him using this new knowledge that he gains to be even more effective. And right now, I mean, imagine how this would have infuriated and upset Elon, the poll result. He'll be looking into bots even harder. So by them doing that, they have really lit a fire under his ass to get all of them.
Was there a bot cleanup just today? This morning when I logged in, at least on the Social Blade analysis, I actually had lost followers, which is the first time it's happened in probably weeks. And, I've picked up a little bit, but not that many since then. I'm wondering if there was a bot cleanup instigated even before we, that we don't even know about.
Yeah, I think what happened after the poll, because that's the beautiful thing, right? You have the whole data set. So every Twitter account that voted, you have the IP address, you have the location data, and you can use that to find a pattern, to find the bots. And I think that is probably what they are looking at right now.
It's
And that's
also
why I believe. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's also worth mentioning that a lot of the bots that are created just for polls, for instance, as websites where you can pay money to vote on things, they're not active accounts, right? They don't tweet anything, so it's very hard to detect them until they start voting. So that is one thing that I don't think he considered. I think he did a pretty good job getting rid of spam bots. The spammers are pretty easy to get because they just post the same thing over and over and over again, right?
Yeah,
But with
that's
these,
right. But the
yeah,
more sophisticated bots, I'm telling you, they are coded in a way that they do engage. They retweet things. They tweet, things themselves. When you look at these accounts, the more sophisticated bots, they look pretty real, right? But there are still patterns because there are so many, and you can't make them unique enough. There are still patterns that you can identify, and I tell you, the data set of that poll is going to be a gold mine for any data miner to find bots.
Can I ask you guys a question? Did you think anything of Elon Musk's meeting with Ken Griffin of Citadel and Jared Kushner in Qatar? Is this just people hanging out, or was there something more to be read into this?
I have no idea. Anyone else?
No, I think personally, I think they're just hanging out. I mean, it's the VIP booth, so you're going to have a lot of hits of state there. You even had a Russian a video presenter, right? A television presenter there. So I don't think there's any real meaning to the meeting there. I think people are reading too much into it.
Yeah, I would be surprised if it was anything more than that. This new Twitter blue policy, wherein only blue subscribers will be able to vote on Twitter policy, I strongly support it. I mean, when it comes to matters of most significance to Twitter, why not leave it to its most ardent supporters rather than what I believe is leaving a vulnerability to vindictive activists and bots. I conducted, for what it's worth anyway, I conducted my own poll in response in the comments section to Elon's poll. I just said, do you trust this poll? I put it up about an hour after Elon's. It's sitting at about, for what it's worth, about 85,000, and the split is 70%. No, didn't trust the poll. So I think at the very least, we can safely assume that bots had played a role in the previous in Elon's original poll. So I do think this is and plus for clarity, guys, if you're not a Twitter Blue subscriber, you can still use and express yourself on Twitter for free, so in order to have a paid membership, it has to have extra perks. And that's why people pay for.
Well, he should be preparing for the deluge. I kind of half jokingly tweeted that he's going to get sued for suppressing the vote on his Twitter polls. And
did Tom cut out? Or is that just me?
No, Tom cut out for me too.
He cut out for me as well.
For me too, yeah.
I think Kim is right about one thing. He has 40+ million in this company. He needs it to succeed. That's a substantial portion of anybody's assets. And he took financing at a time when rates were high. He has no choice but this to succeed.
Now I also can't hear Prodigal anymore.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I just wanted to, one thing I would say to provide another perspective to that is.
Oh, the problems are back. Ian, are you still there?
It could have been indeed lost.
Yeah. Now it's getting too hot. It's getting too hot. We're having the problems again. Ian, are you still there? No, Ian dropped as well just now. Wow.
Maybe it's just America.
Nah, it's we have been targeted with the last 3 spaces that we had, and crazy stuff was happening where the hosts are getting muted, even though no co-host or anyone could mute anybody. Right? There's no feature to do that, and spaces crashing, and and then you look at other spaces and they're running fine. So if you go to spaces
Straight up weird me out.
dashboard.
Weird.
Yeah, so if you go to spacesdashboard.com, you can see all these other spaces that are running fine for multiple hours that have no problems, and people joined them after our spaces crashed and verified that they're all running smooth. So this is not a glitch in spaces today. This is specifically about this topic that we're talking about, Twitter Files 8. Because in my mind, when I look at this is probably one of the most damaging releases for the US government. And the reason is because when you are a nation outside of the US, you're a nation that looks at this, you are going to ask yourself as a leader of a...
Oh, he... Wow, it's muting him again. Wow.
How much did you...
I'm having problems with this thing also. I'm only hearing about, one quarter of people speaking. So I don't know what's going on here.
So what's quite interesting is it stopped. The space was clean. We had no problems. Then we're talking about some very sensitive, interesting stuff. And now it starts again. Ian, you still there?
Kim, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Do you mind if I chime in for a sec?
Yeah, go ahead.
Speaking to Tom's concern about
and gone. Wow. We are back to full-on sabotage of the space.
Yeah, Kim, it's not going to work. I just came in to say hello. Enjoy your
Yeah, it's pretty
day.
unbelievable what's happening right now. I mean, this is clearly deliberately instant. Someone tries to address what Tom said. Boom, they get kicked out. Oh, nice. Very nice.
Yeah, what this shows you, though, is that this is such a sensitive topic, right? This is really hitting the nerve. This is super problematic for the government. And of course, again, on top of all of this FBI drama that we looked at yesterday, to promote their wars, to promote their foreign policy on Twitter, with at the time the endorsement and knowledge of Twitter going along with it. That is a huge problem. Yeah, I'm getting muted again, remotely muted as a host of this space. I'm getting remotely muted continuously. So, and people who are in the space added as speakers get removed the moment they start talking. So this is a deliberate attack on this Twitter space.
Fun. Yeah. The moment I start speaking, it boots me out. Fuck you. Whoever's doing this. Fuck.
And gone again. Wow.
I saw your mute icon flashing on and off the whole time for 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's not me doing that. So that the same thing happened earlier with Tara in her space, and it's happening to me as well. So there's definitely someone there playing around with the space deliberately. Are you still there, Olivier?
Yes, I can still hear you.
Yeah. So you joined a bit later. We had a space already that was killed 3 times in a row, where Mario was hosting Twitter Files 8. And then we switched to Tara, which was trying twice to host the space, and she also had to give up because, she got muted all the time as a host, which no user in a space can do. You can never mute the host. So this is a remote attack. And then I opened mine up to see if, maybe Tara and Mario had issues. And the same thing happened in my space. And what we did then, because we wanted to see if this is yeah, so it's happening again. Did you see that? Olivier, you still there? Wow. That's insane.
Dropped out, and you keep getting muted. So yeah.
I keep getting muted, and I was just explaining that after these things happen in all 3 spaces, we went to other spaces and none of them had these issues. So only a space with the Twitter Files 8 topic was attacked every time it was reopened. So this is definitely deliberate. It's targeted just against us speaking about this topic. They just don't want us to talk about this stuff. It's pretty obvious.
Well, by far, it's the largest space on Twitter right now.
Yeah, because the people who are here, they are witnessing firsthand what's happening, right? I mean, they can see that this is deliberate, that this is not happening in other spaces. If you go to spacesdashboard.com, you will see other spaces that have been running for 4 hours, 5 hours, 3 hours, and they're doing fine. They are not having any of these issues. It's only us because we are talking about this topic.
Kim, I've been meaning to ask you, what do you think about this? Because I just think it's political. This Henry Cavill thing with the Superman movie, and they're kicking him out for that based on bring.
And Tom has been removed. Wow. That is insane. Well, we will keep this going. I mean, they can play this game for as long as they want.
And Superman,
We'll
Henry
keep
Cavill movie. What are your thoughts on him taking over the Warhammer franchise?
Ian, can you hear me? Wow. Let me move Spings back up. That's crazy. The moment people talk in the space, they're just getting moved down back to listeners.
Change the title to "Come Shill Your NFT."
Yeah, this is crazy. And like I said, guys, this happened in 2 other spaces. So this isn't just this space. Any space that we opened dealing with this topic had the same issue. Speakers constantly move down, and hosts muted remotely. No third party can mute a host. It has to be someone who has admin rights at Twitter or remotely has admin access to Twitter. It's just too hot. They don't want us to talk about it. It's too hot. I'm just moving people that are getting removed automatically back up. And we will keep doing this, because this space is being recorded. Everything that's happening here is recorded. And if you want to verify that this isn't happening anywhere else, go to spacesdashboard.com and join any other spaces. Just find some other spaces, join them. There are several live right now that have many hours on them with 1,000 or more listeners. Go in there and then come back here and you'll see it's only happening to us. Ian, are you back? Tara, are you back? Prodigal, are you back?
I'm here. Yes.
Anyone? It's insane, right? Like when you get kicked down back to listeners, can you still hear what I'm saying? Wow. Look at that. Everyone, you're witnessing a deliberate attack against this space. This is not happening in any other space. And it has happened to Mario's space, Tara's space, and now my space. This is deliberate, and they are censoring us because they don't want us to talk. I've just been muted again remotely. This is insane. Prodigal, are you there?
Yeah, it keeps booting me out. Whenever you speak, you get muted. I see that your mute button keeps flashing, like crazy flashing.
Yeah, like super fast.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you.
Okay, so whenever we get booted out, we can still hear you, just so you know. So you're still coming through that way.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah.
Again, if there's someone in this space who works at Twitter or for Twitter Spaces, please have a look at this. We mentioned it before. Something got fixed because we could talk without problems for, I would say, was it like 45 minutes? And now we have the same problems again of a deliberate targeting against a space that wants to talk about this Twitter Files 8 topic. So anyone from Twitter who's in here right now, please have a look at it and try and fix it again.
So what about the idea, before I'm booted, of blue checks getting different votes or weighted votes based on follower counts?
Yeah, the problem with that, Tom, is if you have a botnet, you can have your bots follow each other, and you can basically just create enough followers. But I think
Can you hear me? Anyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so it appears Kim's getting muted. It is interesting that this is happening
Wow, this is crazy.
Yeah, we can hear you again, Kim.
That is insane.
Yeah, this is the most, based on that website, the number one spaces on Twitter right now, and it ain't working, to put it charitably. Oh, it looks like I'm the only one here. So we've been trying to cover Twitter drop number 8 related to Pentagon bots, knowingly left on. Ian, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back temporarily until I'm booted again.
Well,
You think these are still moles at Twitter doing this, or you think it's outside hacking?
Well, it could
oh,
be, or it could be a person that is working at Twitter that has been infiltrated into a position, with admin rights at Twitter by one of these FBI people. So once they were in the company, like this guy Baker, he could have hired a couple of people that are just, deep state assets that are either doing this at Twitter or remotely, having admin rights and being able to mess with the spaces. Tom, are you still there?
yeah, I can hear you, and I haven't been booted since I've been back on for a minute, a few minutes.
Good.
I was telling the listeners we've been trying to talk about the disclosure today that there were countless Pentagon bots on Twitter. Twitter executives knew about it, and while pretending to be concerned about national governments using bots to change perceptions, they allowed the Pentagon to do it. We had a debate about what.
Yeah, and now Tom is gone. Wow. By the way, anyone who wants to verify later that this has been happening in multiple spaces, look at the recording that Mario Naval has of his space dealing with this topic, and then look at the Wow, that was the longest time this muting took place. I couldn't say a thing, and when I press on the mute button, like when I'm mute.
I think I'm back. And Kim is muted.
It's so pervasive now. I can't even
temporarily back
speak
now.
for. It's so crazy. Like it's now I can't even. Once it starts.
It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you keep being muted, and I see that you are muted again, and I'm speaking, so it's probably going to be my turn to get booted out. as per the usual.
Tom, can you hear me?
I can. I'm back.
Tom, can you please try and host a space with the same name, Twitter Files 8, and we'll just move over there and see if the same happens to you? So I've just been mass muted again. Tom, if you can still hear me, could you please try and open a space? Just call it Twitter Files 8. And then once you have started that, I'm going to close this one down and I will ask everyone here to join Tom Fitton space. So maybe follow Tom Fitton and we will see if all right, everyone. It looks like Tom has started a space, so I'm going. All right, I'm getting muted all the time. So follow Tom Fitton.